to the next point.
Towards
We should ensure
us.
whatever we say is clear.
That means work is being done. We can see that it is in opposite direction.
You're welcome once more to this segment of the Kaduna State e-learning program. The subject, as usual, is English language. Today, we take on the topic comprehension. Now, for those of you who are listening through radio, I suggest you record the programs, the lesson as we present it, and then listen to it afterward as you do the work assigned to you. Those of you who watch through TV, now as the lesson is going on, I will ask some teacher-made questions. You are to answer those ones along with those ones who listen via radio. Now for today, we have two comprehension passages. And I am going to read them as you record. I remain your teacher, Mr. Emmanuel Jatau, and this lesson is being presented for students who are in the senior secondary school, SS1, SS2. Now, this is the comprehension passage. Now, when we say comprehension, it means you read to understand. Reading to understand, and then you answer questions afterward. Now we are to read the following passage carefully and answer the questions on it. Read the following passage carefully and answer the questions on it. It was a sunny day in the month of May. The sun took its rightful position very early, lending credence to the general feeling that Andrew's birthday ceremony was going to be greeted with the blessings of a pleasant climate. The sky looked so bright that Andrew insisted on having an open-air party. The habitual doubting Thomases had no dissenting opinions to express. Andrew had gone to a great length to ensure a hitch-free party, a party which will remain the talk of the town. Although it was not intended to be a free-for-all, a lot had been done to stamp the occasion on the memories of many people long afterwards. The bright sun continued to smile. Andrew's face beamed with pleasure with every passing moment. Very few of his contemporaries have so succeeded in reaching the top of the ladder. Andrew, in particular, had been an orphan of storm. His father's death during his third year in the secondary school and that of his mother 2 years later were only two of this orphan's storms. He suffered a physical misfortune when a stockfish machine severed his left middle finger. But Andrew did not despair. The courage to fail is very cheap. Every fool can afford to fail, but it raises one above the herd of cowards and never-do-wells to be up and struggling. The reward of forbearance in the end is resounding success. And so it was for Andrew. Ever since he finished his university education, it had been success galore. He had got a good job in one of the country's insurance companies. His pay was good. His promotion had been steady and his prospects seemed bright. At 40, he had a good car and had already bought a house of his own. The world was at his feet. The world was at his feet. Now, if you recall, in our previous lessons that I taught you comprehension, I said, when you read the comprehension passage first, before going to the questions, you're wasting a lot of time. You become like a child whose father wants to send to the market, and upon receiving the money, rushes to the market without getting the message. So what you do, for you to tackle this comprehension passage successfully, is 1, go first to the comprehension question and read them. 2, pick out keywords in these questions. Pick out keywords in these questions. 3, locate these keywords or important words in the passage. Locate these keywords or important words in the passage. 4, read before or after these located words or these keywords for your answer. Read before or after these keywords for your answer. Now let's look at the comprehensions from A to the end. A, give in a word or phrase the meaning of each of the following words as used in the passage. 1, dissenting. 2, stamp. 3, contemporaries. I'll take that again. Give in a word or phrase as used in the passage. 1, dissenting. 2, stamp. 3, contemporaries. B, what figure of speech is the sun continued to smile? What figure of speech is the sun continued to smile? C, 1, what kind of grammatical structure is the courage to fail? What kind of grammatical structure is the courage to fail? 2, what is the function? What is its function in the sentence? What is its function in the sentence? D, what 2 hardships had Andrew gone through in life? What 2 hardships have Andrew gone through in life? E, what is implied by the expression, the world is at his feet? What is implied by the expression, the world is at his feet? Now let's go back to the passage again. Question A. Question A. Give in one word or phrase the meaning of each of the following words as used in the passage. Now let's go to the passage now. Now let's look for those words that were underlined, beginning from dissenting. Dissenting. Let's start with dissenting. You can see dissenting. The sky looked so bright that Andrew insisted on having an open-air party. The habitual doubting Thomases had no dissenting opinions. Had no dissenting opinions. Now look at dissenting. For us to get the meaning of the word dissenting, we have to look at the entire structure, the context under which the word dissenting appears. Had no dissenting opinions. So which word can we get that fits perfectly into that slot without altering the meaning? Habitual doubting Thomases had no dissenting opinion. Which word do you think fits there perfectly without altering the meaning? Now, I think some of you will say differing. Differing. Now, the word dissenting is continuous. Therefore, our answer or the word we pick must be in the continuous form too. So we pick the word differing. Now let's use the word differing in that slot to see if it fits. The habitual doubting Thomases had no differing opinions. It fits perfectly. Let's go to the next. Stamp. Although it was not intended to be a free-for-all, a lot had been done to stamp. To stamp. Which other word can we use instead of the word stamp? Which word can we use? Do we take the word to impress it? Impress. Now, let's see if that goes too. A lot had been done to impress the occasion. Okay? We said you could use a word or phrase. We can take the word impress. Okay? But we can also use a phrase. A lot had been done to bring the occasion on the memories, or that is to stamp the occasion, to impress the occasion on the memories of many people long afterward. To impress or to forcibly remind people. Okay? The third one. Which one is the third one? Contemporaries. Contemporaries. Which other word can we use instead of the word contemporaries? Did I hear you say mates? Did I hear you say colleagues? Or friends? So you can use any of these words and it will fit into that slot perfectly. Question B. What figure of speech is the sun continued to smile? The sun continued to smile. If we go back to the passage where we find it, the bright sun continued to smile. The bright sun continued to smile. Now we are asked, what figure of speech is that? What figure of speech is that? Now you take note. In your study in literature, you came across what we call personification. Personification. That is, the giving of human qualities to inanimate objects. The giving of human attribute to inanimate objects. The sun is not human. The sun doesn't have mouth. The sun, since it doesn't have mouth, cannot smile. But when we take the attribute of a human being and attach it to the sun, we give it a mouth. And therefore we say the sun continued to smile. What does that mean? It simply means the sun continued to shine. What figure of speech is that? We say personification. Personification. Question C. what kind of grammatical structure is the courage to fail? The courage to fail. And 2, what is its function in the sentence? What is its function in the sentence? Now let's go back to the passage. The courage to fail is cheap, is very cheap. The courage to fail is very cheap. And then we are asked, the courage to fail. What is the grammatical name given that expression? And 2, what is its function? The courage to fail. Now, how do you get your answer here? Look for your verb. Our verb there is the word is, meaning that what we are dealing with is behind the verb. We can say, Abdul is very cheap. That is, if he likes cheap things. Right? But now here we have the courage to fail is very cheap. It means the courage to fail is standing in the same position that Abdul is standing when I said Abdul is very cheap. Therefore, the courage to fail is a noun clause. The courage to fail is a noun clause. What is its function? Now, when I said Abdul is very cheap, Abdul is standing in the position of the subject of the sentence. Therefore, the courage to fail is standing in the same position that Abdul stands. It is noun clause as subject. Noun clause as subject. D. What 2 hardships had Andrew gone through? What 2 hardships had Andrew gone through? From the passage, you know he lost his mother and father very early on in life. And the second hardship is that he lost his middle finger when a stockfish knife cut it out. So those are his 2 storms. Okay? E. What is implied by the expression, the world is at his feet? The world is at his feet. What does it mean? That is what the question is asking. What does it mean? The world is at his feet. We will simply say success. He has already attained what? Success. He will need, if he needs more success, it is his to take. Okay? If he needs more success, it is his to take. Because already he has gotten the habit to struggle already. If he keeps struggling, the world is his to take. Now let's go to the second comprehension, your assignment. Now this one is given to you to be done at home. I will read it quickly for the purpose of those listening via radio. Read the following passage carefully and answer the questions on it. Do the present policies on those who commit crimes reflect a class war? For long, people have alleged that certain laws discriminate against some members of the society while such laws favor others. Besides, some sociologists also claim that some members of the society are more prone to some specific crimes than others. So, our opening question is pertinent. When we realize that armed robbery and similar offenses require the use of brute force, it immediately becomes clear that these are offenses almost exclusive to the masculine world. Almost exclusive to the masculine world. The offenses are thus sex-bound. Besides, the need to be physically strong and agile tends to exclude the upper middle age and the elderly. So, age is also a factor. Age is also a factor. Now, note. The person says sex determines the type of crime that is performed. If it involves the use of physical, that is raw energy and brute force, then that type of crime is exclusively preserved for men who are in their prime. And then he also says that age is also a factor, since aged people cannot be seen as armed robbers. Moreover, members of the working class who at least have some financial returns to rely on hardly ever have the urge to resort to violence. This tends to limit violent crimes to the unemployed, poor, and desperate males in their late teens, 20s, or early 30s. Indeed, if elderly citizens are involved, they function as the barons, the financiers who sit back at home while they let loose the dogs of vandalism and death. They provide the money and tools for the frontline criminals. Similarly, drug pushing tends to be more prevalent among the weaker sex, especially ladies in their 20s. They are biologically more attractive and hence more likely to wade through the airport and border post while hiding deadly grams of hard drugs within one or other of their bodily crevices. Again, if older citizens are involved, it is more as the barons, shielding the carriers from prosecution if they were caught. So, this is another crime that is largely sex-bound. Punishment for offenses limited to the citizens on the lower rung of the socioeconomic ladder appear to be harsher. So, robbery with violence attracts death, and pushing hard drugs attracts long jail terms. Meanwhile, pen robbery and large-scale fraud, offenses which are invariably specific to the high-class officials, do not attract severe penalties. Indeed, most culprits at this level manage to wriggle out of the net of the law. There, thus, appears to be sufficient reason to answer our original question in the affirmative. Comprehension question for the assignment. A. Mention any two yardsticks used by the writer to categorize those who commit violent crimes. Two yardsticks to categorize those who commit violent crimes. B. What two roles do the barons of the identified crimes play? What two roles do the barons of the identified crimes play? C. Among what groups of people are violent crimes most common? Among what groups of people are violent crimes most common? D. 1. Does the writer consider the punishment for the various crimes mentioned in the passage as fair? 2. Support your answer with a brief description of the writer's argument. E. They let loose the dogs of vandalism and death. 1. What figure of speech is the above expression? 2. What does the expression mean? F. For each of the following words, find another word or phrase which means the same and can replace it as used in the passage. 1. Pertinent. 2. Agile. 3. Desperate. 4. Prevalent. 5. Severe. My name is Emmanuel Jato, like I said at the beginning of the lesson. You can reach me if you do this assignment through the number 080-5731-3044. 080-5731-3044. Thank you and remain blessed.